Welcome to the Why the Church of the Nazarene Should Be Fully LGBTQ Affirming, the second night of our conference. Last night, we featured queer voices and allies. Tonight, we're talking with leaders and scholars, although really there's lots of overlap between those two. Many of the people who spoke last night are leaders and scholars, so it's kind of somewhat arbitrary. But tonight, our focus is more on theoretical issues, scriptural, theological, historical, legal, etc. And we've got a great lineup of people. I'm joined by by the way, I'm Thomas J. Ord, Tom. I'm joined by my co-host, my daughter, Alexa.
Hi all, I'm Alexa.
Alexa was the host last night for the conference. And as we were thinking about this evening, we like to begin and kind of get a little overview and talk for a bit so folks can join us and not miss much at the beginning. One of the things that we talked a little bit about last night is how the book came together, and all the people who were invited, the people who couldn't write for various reasons, the way folks came together to that we didn't know. We initially obviously invited people that we knew, and then it began to just mushroom. The other thing we didn't talk about last night that I think is incredibly interesting is how quickly this book came together. I don't remember the exact date that Alexa and I started sending out invitations, but it was either late fall or early winter of 2022. And this book hits the shelves and people have it in their hands in April. That's just an amazing turnaround. It's a credit to the contributors of the book getting their essays in quickly. It's a tribute to Alexa, who did the majority of the actual editing of the essays. It's a credit to the ability today for books to be put out much more quickly than they have been in the past. Well, I'll tell you what, Alexa, why don't you talk about last night and I'll see if I can fix my end of things.
Sure thing, no problem. Yeah, last night was really powerful. I'm sure we all came away feeling a lot of feelings. I think one thing that I really valued was really experiencing the variety of perspectives, and yet everyone's willingness to engage in this conversation. We really had such a breadth of life stories and where people are coming from. And it was really great to gather in this space together. And there was absolutely just as much lively discussion going on in the chat. I was seeing those pings popping off during the conversations, which was really wonderful to see. And another thing that I thought was really special was just this opportunity to hear the voices of queer folks, which I think is not something that I had ever experienced in a church context before. And I think that opportunities to hear queer voices are sadly often lacking in the Nazarene Church. And I think that's really important. And along with that, speaking out and sharing your stories, queer or allies, is an incredibly vulnerable experience and takes a real amount of courage and authenticity. And it's a brave act to do. And I really appreciate all of our contributors for that. And especially, I feel like that was really embodied in our closing conversation last night between Allison and Tracy Tucker, a really, really intimate and raw conversation between father and daughter that was just such a blessing. And I think we all felt, so blessed to be witnessing a really beautiful moment. So yeah, it was wonderful and an experience I'll never forget. As we somewhat touched on last night, Tom went through the trial over his own affirming stance in the early parts of 2022. And once that got resolved and he started thinking about writing a book on the topic, then somewhere around the fall of last year is when he reached out to me and said, okay, let's do this as a collaborative essay book together. So yeah, I think we reached out to people in December and then we published in April. That's an incredible turnaround. And I think part of it was due to a real outpouring of support from our authors. Everybody was so cooperative and we had so many people reaching out, giving us additional resources and continuing to really build this community in the Facebook group after the fact. So it really has been a team effort, and it's been it was so great to see this project come to fruition, everyone together.